Hey guys, welcome back. I'm in a new setting. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this. I've got a mic and everything. I just asked if you guys had any sorts of questions that you want to throw at me. And because I like talking about lots of different types of topics, as you guys know. I had a lot of questions that about like being in your 30s and like co-parenting, sort of adulting, basically. Is this thing on? I'm entering my 30s this year. Do you have any tips? Do I have any tips? The first one is just to enjoy it. Like, enjoy your 30s. Like, for me, I enjoy my 30s so much more than I enjoyed my 20s. A lot of people say, like, in your 20s, you don't know who you are yet. You're still sort of figuring yourself out. And it was the case, though, for me as well. And I feel like two of the main things I think you need to, that would really help you through your 20s, knowing what to accept and not accept from people and situations. I've gone off on a tangent. I think that's what you can look forward to in your 30s. Like, because you probably understand yourself a bit better by your 30s or during your 30s, it's a little bit easier to navigate through a lot of situations in life. Another thing that came to mind when I saw this, it's not even as much that I have tips, it's more like how your 30s feel. Especially at the beginning, because they can feel really daunting at the beginning. When you're going from 29 to 30, a lot of us freak out because we're like, oh my God, it's 30, like it's such a big number. It's really not. It's like such a societal pressure. My tip would be to really try to not overthink it, just your 30s, like the number of it. Because I have been guilty of this as well. I think there's a lot of times where I'll be doing things, like say if I'm going out and things, in the back of my head, I'm a bit like, oh, people are going to think like, why is she out like, at this age and things? But then I'm like, why would I not enjoy myself still? Like I'm only in my early 30s, going into my mid. But it's silly, you know, because it literally is just a number. So anyways, any new health habits? Yes, I deleted Hinge. Deleted Hinge. I got myself off that. Okay, I didn't even do that as like a new health habit at the time, but now I'm not on there or on any dating apps anymore. Oh my God, like I feel life's so much more peaceful. And I don't need to be on there right now anyway. But even though like I hear lots of success stories from Hinge and from dating apps. So like I'm not saying that they're all bad or anything, but I'm looking back, you know, like the constant scrolling, the constant seeing who's liking you and da-da-da, and it's exhausting. Oh, I'm trying to switch to matcha. I say that while drinking a coffee, but I am actually trying to switch to matcha from coffee because I feel like coffee is just like, it's giving me a really bad stomach. Like I'm getting issues, I think. I've been drinking it for so long. Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a good answer, actually. Like a more practical answer. Your take on the millennial trends that are coming back. I'm not mad at this, actually. Like, you know how, and I don't know how many Gen Zs follow me, but hi. Hi. Oh my God, that was such a stiff hello. Hello, Gen Zs. Your fellow millennial. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so this whole thing of like, obviously a lot of the Y2K style has come back round. And like the old clothes that we used to wear, like in the 2010s and things. And there's been a lot of discourse around like, oh, they're not even doing it properly because they're not wearing the ugly things we used to wear. But that's probably the same for like all other decades that have come back round. Obviously, it's sort of cherry picking. So I'm not mad at it. But I will say I'm finding this current like age of style quite difficult to navigate personally. Like it seems like there's a lot of maximalism, I think is the word, and a lot of mismatching, which I love actually, because I love self-expression and I love seeing other people pull it off so well. Like Gen Zs, you're doing so well. And like I've tried to dabble in it, the sort of Y2K mixed matched style. I don't think it's not going well for me. But yeah, am I answering the question properly? I'm really not bothered. You know, I'm not someone who's like, oh, they shouldn't be wearing that stuff. I don't care. Wear what you want, you know. So I think some of the weirdest things that I've seen come back are Ed Hardy. I feel like there's been like juicy tracksuits and things as well. Oh my God, I just had a flashback to when I used to wear this top all the time. Like someone, they should have actually taken it off of me. So you know those tops that are like, okay, so say like the bottom bit is like this, but then it went like a triangle here, and then the neck was just a gold ring. And the top had a tiger face on it. And I used to wear it too much. And like thinking about it, I don't see that. Like I don't see people wearing tops with gold hoops like as a necking. I don't know. I am excited for style to evolve on from where it is now, just because I want to see what's next. I feel like this has been hanging around. So, and also, I'm really only because I'm jealous. I'm really excited for the slick back pony to move on to something else, because I can't do that with my forehead. And it's just for me, it's just like not the vibe. Okay, I can't do it. I wish I could do it. And also, like, even if I do it, like then my edge is gonna go like bye. Do you feel different about your 30s than before, about crisis or so? Absolutely. But I think it probably took actually until me being about 31, 32 until I relaxed into like being 30 or being like in my 30s a bit more. Because I think honestly, like during being 30, I was still a bit in panic mode. And I was still a bit like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be more responsible. Thought process was like, oh, it's the beginning of the end. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like younger now than I did when I was 30. I don't know if that makes sense. What I have noticed though, okay, sometimes I don't know if it's my imagination, but I don't think it is. But what I have noticed is some changes in my skin. Like my skin luminosity, if that's the word, and a little bit in texture. So I'm sort of not sure if that's to do with the skincare products that I'm using or actually just aging. Because I think like around this time, the way that your body produces collagen. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Changes, slows down, that sort of thing. So like there are going to be changes in your skin. So I would say, okay, for me, I'm not saying anyone else has to do anything, obviously, but I have been having facial treatments like microneedling. I'm dabbling in a little bit of laser. I had a laser facial the other week. And interest and focus on skincare and skin health has definitely grown, like compared to in my 20s. Advice about relationships in your 20s: don't do it. Don't do it. I feel like I was pretty much in relationships all through my 20s. Yeah, I think I was only not in a relationship during my 20s for literally about 2 weeks. That's mad. I'm just like deep that. So I might be a bit biased, but I would say, okay, I'm not going to say like, oh, don't get into any relationship in your 20s. That's kind of like unrealistic. A lot of us are going to. But yeah, if I was to like go back and talk to my 20s self, I would definitely say don't hold so much weight in being in a relationship. And please try to decenter men. That is not saying like men aren't important or or anything, like trashing men or anything, but it's just saying like you don't need to center them, like, they don't need to be your focus in life. And it's like your 20s is such a good time to learn yourself, explore yourself, and what you like to do, what you don't like to do. Friendships, like build good friendships, get your money up. If I could do it again, yeah, I do wish that I do wish that I had decentered men and that I even knew what that was, like that wasn't something that I ever heard discussed. That I would say, like, I wish I had spent more time nurturing my female friendships than romantic relationships. Oh, I had quite a few about co-parenting. So, oh my God, okay, how do I tackle this one? Because everyone's everyone's in a different situation. Obviously, everyone's with a different type of person. So it's hard for me to talk too much about co-parenting because whoever you might be doing it with or might be doing it with in the future, I don't know them. But one of my first thoughts, and I hope it doesn't come across wrong, but it's like, say if you're with someone and you're thinking about having a baby with them, hopefully all goes well, right? Like all of us, when we're in these situations, hope things go exactly how we planned, if you know what I mean. I think the only advice I can give about co-parenting, that person you're dating or the person you're thinking about having kids with and you need to really, really look at their qualities as a person, as a man. Like, is this someone that you can trust? Is this someone who keeps their word often? Is this someone who is willing to sacrifice themselves sometimes? If family needs their help or something, will they sacrifice to help family? It's someone that I clash with a lot, all of these things, okay? Because for me, like, I have a good co-parenting situation. And I'm really, really happy about that because you hear a lot of horror stories and a lot of about a lot of bad situations. So, and I say all of that because I think once you're already in the co-parenting situation, it's really hard for me to give advice on that, Would love a discussion on heartbreak and healing. Oh my God, okay, this is such a big topic. Lord. This is something that I wanted to talk, that I feel like talking on quite a lot because it's such a, like the experience of heartbreak is so visceral, like it's so deep, and it's so, it can be so debilitating as well emotionally, like trying to get on with your day-to-day life when you're falling apart inside, Okay, so first of all, heartbreak, I think I've had, how many times do I think I've been heartbroken? With most of my relationships or even situationships, things at the end ended kind of slowly and quite amicably and like with us both being on the same level with things. But, and this was probably, those were more so when I was a bit younger, but as I've gotten older, for some reason, like that's when I've had the worst heartbreaks. Oh my, and I feel for anyone that's going through a heartbreak right now. Because when you're going through it, or like it feels like it's never going to end. It's like you wake up every day, you remember it again, like you feel everything again. You have to pull yourself up, like, get on with your day. Oh my God, as well, going through heartbreak with kids, when you have a kid, oh my, how do we do it? Because obviously you don't want your child to see you really upset. You don't want them to like feel that something's wrong with you. And then also, because if they do, you can't really explain why you're so sad or why you're so upset. So it's so difficult. Like you'll be being a mum and then you'll go into the other room, like have a cry. That was not a good time. I feel you, like any other mums as well that are going through heartbreak while looking after a child. That is something that isn't actually spoken about that much. So yeah, there's that part of it as well. Healing from heartbreak for me, in the first stages, I feel like you have to purge all of the emotion out. You have to let it out. And I feel like a lot of the times you don't really have a choice because it's hurting so much, like you just need to cry, So I feel like for me anyway, like the first 2 weeks or so, I'm just like crying. Like I'm just in a state, I'm like, leave me alone. Apart from Indy. It's kind of like denial as well. It's such a weird like mix of emotions because it's like you're grieving someone who's still alive. So it's such a weird feeling. And it's like, that they're just somewhere, but it's done. And you just don't have that comfort anymore. You don't have that. Also, it's like you lose a friend as well because, they become a best friend, or they should do anyway, really in a good relationship. So especially if you're a physical touch love language person, which I am, you lose that and the best friend connection. So it's like a twofold loss. So yeah, the first 2 weeks, I feel like, okay, let everything out. Then like from that sort of time onwards, it really, really helps having someone to speak to about it. Like, if you don't have a huge group of friends, at least having like one person to talk about it with really, really helps, because otherwise you're just stuck with all of these thoughts and feelings and things in your head. This is also a difficult time because it's when you're mostly wanting maybe to reach out to them again. Okay, it depends on the circumstances, okay, but most of the time, do not reach out. Because it's like you're having withdrawals from that person, you know? Say if they have wronged you, like, do not reach out, okay? You have to like stay firm in your choice. Distraction is another good one. And I always say, like, I don't think it's healthy to 100% distract, because when you like fully just distract your mind, obviously it's always going to be there in the background and it's going to just come back like again. It's not going to just go away if you're just fully distracting yourself. So that's another reason why I don't think it's a good idea, even though I have done this before, but it's not really a good idea to like jump into another relationship straight away, because that's just a distraction. Like, you need some time to grieve properly and to like put yourself back together properly after a breakup. I think it's fine to, obviously go out, have some fun. Like, that's normal. No? But yeah, to jump into another relationship is not usually a very good idea. Yeah, so I think, but yeah, some healthy distraction, I would say more so in the way of work, everyone says this, right? But like a hobby, like something that, just finding something else to fill your time. Like if that's music or reading, writing, people watching, train spotting, I don't know. Collecting Pokemon cards. And it might feel silly at first, but you'll get used to it. And you have to be okay with them popping into your head every now and then at annoying times, and probably at times where you're like, oh, like, I don't want to be thinking about him or her right now. But it's gonna happen. Another thing that I really like to take the time to do after a relationship, after a horrible breakup, is to like take time to think about, okay, so why did this break down? Like, what happened here? Like, looking back at it, what was my part in it as well? Because there's always okay, maybe not always, but a lot of the time there are two sides. Like, maybe if one person didn't do the bad thing, the other person maybe could have showed up in other ways in a relationship still. So I like to look back at it and think, okay, like, what was my behavior like? Or how did I show up in this relationship or not show up? And not even in a blaming myself way, but actually just more in an analyzing myself sort of way, more so that I can work on certain parts of myself for a potential next relationship or even friendship or whatever. Or in like the way that I move through the world, the way that I communicate with others in general, like in life. Like, so basically you can take good and bad things about you in a relationship and be able to work on that for yourself going forwards. So that's kind of a good from a bad happening. But that's something that you're not ready to do yet when it's like second week. Then I think a few weeks after a breakup, then it's a bit easier to look back at the relationship and actually think like, do you know what, was this exactly what I wanted? Because like when you're so in something, you're sort of telling yourself like, oh, everything's fine, like this is what I want to do. And you make excuses. But sometimes actually looking back, like it usually does make sense in the end why it didn't work out. And it's actually redirection instead of rejection. That helps me a lot in life. Like, you're just being redirected. But yeah. I forgot to add that screaming into a pillow can help, like at the beginning. And something I want to say as well, like at the beginning of a breakup, when you're purging all of those emotions, just let it out. Like, it's okay to let it out. Like, I feel like we're all taught to be so, like, not to release our emotions properly. But I think especially with something like a breakup, like, just do whatever you need to do to make your mind and your body feel better. Because there's other ways of healing actually for your body, like shaking and tapping, like energetic tapping, like anything like that, screaming into a pillow, going for a run like Forrest Gump. Another one that, oh my God, another one that helps me is just going to the gym. It's another way of like focusing on myself, getting like feeling better about myself and my body. And it really helps to clear my mind. That's all the questions that I got today. I really hope you enjoyed this. I really liked doing this, like especially in the new setting and everything. Let me know what you thought. Please give me like more questions. Like send me any questions. Maybe the next one can be all on one topic, so we can like stay on just one topic. Or if there's anyone else you'd like to see on with me, anyone that you'd like me to film this with, like so we can bounce off of each other and let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye.